By calling for a more calling for a renaissance in religious education, I seem to have struck a bit of a chord. The point is, religious education is about our culture. It's about culture in general, and in the same way that I think we should be particularly covering the three Abrahamic religions um, in detail, uh, I think we should respect the desire for religion because I was reading something the other day about the possibility that it might literally be biological. There's a thing called the periaqueductal grey, which the PAG, which is which somebody has suggested is the centre of religion and spirituality in the brain, and it's very close to the area that deals with fear, and it's the little bit of the brain that deals with altruism and unconditional love. I don't think it's a God spot in the middle of the brain, but I think it is definitely something uh, that can stimulate passion and um, and entertainment. I suggest I suggest it's the same area of the brain that deals with a love of theatre and a love of um, literature. I think there will be a link between these things. But every day we're discovering more and more about the brain, um, and, and I also think that an interest in religion gives us an interest in humour and in detailed interest in text and in textual analysis. And I think all these things go together. They certainly do in my life. And you know, I love the history of humor. I love the older comics, and I love the older religious texts. I won't stop. I won't take my coat off because I'm not stopping. All those expressions. Can you hear me, mother? These expressions which inform the music halls of these sort of traditions, these repeated phrases. This is in a way also religious, isn't it? These what in the end on television become catchphrases. They go all the way back, and I think they go all the way back to religion. What also goes all the way back to religion is university, mathematics, music. And we shouldn't forget that, to go back to my theme, we shouldn't forget that religion, the origins of theatre lie in the cult of Dionysus and the Greek tradition of respect for the crazy, uh, respect for the for both the god of the intellect and of reason, Apollo, and the god of the irrational, Dionysus, and and the celebrations of drama as a way of dealing with the irrational. And I think, therefore, in the same, almost in the same breath, um, there's, we're so interested today in magic, and we failed to give enough credence, I think, to the mystical, to the abstract, to the stuff we cannot really define. The idea of defining something by its absence. This is Islamic, of course, but the flowering of apophatic definition you would find in southern Italy, in the Greek part of southern Italy, in the 16th, 17th centuries, um, in apophatic theology. The And as we're coming up to the celebration of the anniversary of the Council of Nicaea, I think it's important to remember the enormous contribution that religion has made to modern society. And this isn't to plead for a a sort of mumbo jumbo of religious indoctrination. Um, the more you get to know people, Absinthe for breakfast says the more you get to know people, the more likely you are to understand them. This has the effect of reducing baseless fears. The key to solving many of these problems is better integration. Without it, there will always be hatred and division, and I strongly believe that integration is the duty of the newcomer when in Rome, etc. Uh, absolutely. Studying religion helps better integration. But studying religion also helps us to identify the debt that we owe to our religious past, whether this is simply in the immediate religious past of the last 2,000 years or so, or whether it's further back in terms of the mythologies of ancient Greece and Rome and the Norse mythologies that give us the days of the week. We are surrounded by religious language, even in modern English. Goodbye, for example, God be with you, is a contraction. And let me see. We've got some other comments here, which I'd quite like. I'd quite like to read some of them. Um, uh, STJ Duck says, "Good evening. Religious education in this country has been predominantly been Christian focused, with an emphasis on belief and other religions cursorily covered. It's not necessary to teach an understanding of all religions, but an acceptance that having different beliefs is a good thing. Rayner's idea is, in my opinion, counterproductive. Let's face it, the Church of England refuses to accept the independent inquiry into its abuse of children while insisting it is fit to police itself. That shows the government really has no clue on this. Teaching religious tolerance as understanding is often unnecessary. I'm not talking about religious tolerance. I'm talking about understanding. I'm talking about an academic interest in the texts that give us that lie behind our religious beliefs. And without that, incidentally, and without an appreciation of, for example, the Christian texts which lead to the King James Bible, it's very difficult to read Shakespeare, and it's almost impossible to read Milton. And a lot of later poetry, a lot of later writing makes cursory reference to assumed religious knowledge, and we don't have that anymore. And I think it's important that we put that back into our educational system. We spend a lot of time talking about sort of social improvement and how to navigate our complex society. But one way to do that is through an appreciation of the history that's brought us to this point, and that would be religion.